surely, if there were people hurt, they would get ambulances there by now.
There are people on the road. There's several casualties on the road. And the ambulance service hasn't got here yet.
It wasn't how the French National Day was supposed to end. A truck plowed into a crowd celebrating Bastille Day in the southern town of Nice Thursday night, killing at least 60 people and injuring 100 others, according to French TV citing local prosecutors. A local official says the truck drove at high speeds along the Promenade d'Anglaise seaside walk in the center of town for some 100 meters before hitting a mass of spectators. The driver was shot dead, regional French radio reports, citing a local official. Social media showed images of people lying apparently lifeless in pools of blood and a long-distance delivery truck littered with bullets. French TV says officials are treating the incident as an attack and were asking people to stay home. The reason for the crash and the identity of the driver were not immediately known in this apparent attack that comes almost 8 months to the day since Islamic State militants killed 130 people in assaults on Paris.
The driver has been killed by the police. You can see on that image there, the lorry has bullet holes in its windshield, where obviously it was fired on by the police. The situation is being treated as an attack. The word terror has not been put before that word, so the situation at present, we're not sure quite who is responsible, who's behind this.
We transition from Meet the Press Daily into breaking news coverage here just after 6 p.m. on the East Coast. It's late at night, of course. In France, the 14th of July is their July 4th, Bastille Day, and it is normally a national holiday. It was being celebrated in the seaside city of Nice tonight with fireworks. You see these pictures immediately after the incident, and in the background, in fact, you see a small fireworks display. It looks like somebody setting off bottle rockets or a Roman candle still while people are running away. The truck we've seen in photographs, the truck, all we know is a truck plowed into a crowd of people of all types and ages gathered on a beautiful summer night for fireworks. This happened along the major seaside promenade in Nice, as has been established so far in our coverage. As countries go, you see a lot more public security in Paris, especially these days, especially since the loss of 130 souls at the hands of terrorists back in November. Nice, especially, you will see police, you will see soldiers, and you will see automatic weaponry out in public to give people more security, at least a feeling of it as they walk around. The mayor of Nice, as our graphic has reported at the bottom of screen, has been saying that dozens of deaths are being reported in his city. The people of Nice have been urged to stay inside. And you saw people scattering, again, along that major seaside promenade. Bob Franken was reporting that people were urged down onto the beach, with police feeling that perhaps that was the safest place if there were real fears of a second vehicle pulling another sort of an attack. Again, fog of war rules apply in the early moments after anything suspected of being a terrorist attack. There was a report of an exchange of gunfire, unconfirmed. We have an unconfirmed number of deaths and injuries. Bob Franken is a longtime veteran television journalist, known to many of us, and he is on the ground tonight in Nice. Bob, at the risk of some repetition, as we've started the top of a new hour here in the U.S., tell us what is known there.
Okay, again, information is tough to get, as you might imagine. But we had watched a fireworks display. It's Bastille Day, which is comparable to our Independence Day. And Nice was crowded a long Independence Day, Bastille Day weekend. And there was a fireworks display. Shortly after it was over, people started screaming. A truck, according to witnesses, had come onto the pedestrian walkway alongside the Promenade d'Anglaise and alongside the Mediterranean, and started mowing people down. I personally saw over a dozen who had been mowed down. Some of them obviously were dead, others were injured, and the truck then sped away, and according to other reports, was spotted and stopped somewhere down the road, not within my line of sight, by the way. Meanwhile, police were ordering people down onto the beach. There was certainly an impression that they were worried that there would be a second attack. After a while, people who had run from the area by the thousands had evacuated, and people were obviously very shaken, and the tragedy was unfolding as we could see along the walkway alongside the Promenade d'Anglaise.
Bob, I was in that city recently, though not since the attacks at the Bataclan. Tell us about the public visibility and public stance of both police and army personnel. How many automatic weapons would you see, for example, as an American tourist visiting Nice?
Well, quite a few. Obviously, over the years, the police presence has increased as it has everywhere, certainly in the United States. On this particular evening, as we were walking around, quite frankly, to go to dinner, we saw a very, very heavy police presence. In fact, closed down the roadway so pedestrians could use it. There was supposed to be a music performed throughout the city this evening. Obviously, that has not happened. But there was a heavy presence, but it's the kind of thing that you've gotten used to. So quite frankly, I didn't particularly take note of it. But that is, of course, symptomatic of the times that we live in.
And this calls for a judgment, but in your judgment, we're at the mercy of what we're reading off social media and the wire services, and good people like you, especially in your case as a veteran journalist. This doesn't appear to be the case where the brakes simply failed on a truck.
Nobody seems to kept going. Was speeding down the road. Certainly makes this seem like an attack, and everybody with whom I've spoken, they use the word terrorism a little bit. That is a word, of course, you don't want to throw around quickly, but it certainly seemed to be an attack. And again, this is a matter of judgment. I don't have official word of that, but it doesn't look like that this was some sort of horrible accident. And
we're correct in assuming, as I said, that fog of war rules apply. On a night of fireworks in Nice, we should not assume the reports we're seeing about a, quote, exchange of gunfire with the driver to be gospel truth, at least initially.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.
It wasn't how the French National Day was supposed to end. A truck plowed into a crowd celebrating Bastille Day in the southern town of Nice Thursday night, killing at least 60 people and injuring 100 others, according to French TV citing local prosecutors. A local official says the truck drove at high speeds along the Promenade d'Anglaise seaside walk in the center of town for some 100 meters before hitting a mass of spectators. The driver was shot dead, regional French radio reports, citing a local official. Social media showed images of people lying apparently lifeless in pools of blood and a long-distance delivery truck littered with bullets. French TV says officials are treating the incident as an attack and were asking people to stay home. The reason for the crash and the identity of the driver were not immediately known in this apparent attack that comes almost 8 months to the day since Islamic State militants killed 130 people in assaults on Paris.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
C'est un mouvement de foule quelque part. C'est un mouvement de foule. Là, il n'y a rien.